Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming my equestrian pet peeves. I sat down yesterday and came up with 5 things that frustrate me or annoy me or whatever about being an equestrian, so I thought that I would share them with you. So my first pet peeve is how expensive it is to be an equestrian. I don't know if you guys think it's expensive to be an equestrian where you live, but it definitely is expensive here where I live in Australia. It's not just expensive to buy and to board a horse, but it's also expensive to buy things for them. The ongoing costs of keeping a horse, the price of tack, the price of, vet bills and worming, and just everything added together makes it really, really expensive. And I don't know whether you guys think this is true or not. If you're in Australia, let me know, but I kind of feel like things are so much more expensive in Australia than they are in other parts of the world. Like, I watch quite a few Canadian and American YouTubers, and when you guys do tack hauls and you tell me the price of things, I'm always so surprised by how cheap stuff is there. Like here, everything is just so expensive. Like, even treats are expensive. I bought a 500 gram packet of just little biscuit type treats the other day from my local tack store, and it was like $25, I think, for like 500 grams, which is like crazy expensive. Like, I don't even pay that much for snacks for myself, but yeah, I just was like blown away by how cheap you guys can get stuff in other parts of the world. And yeah, I just think owning a horse in Australia is really expensive and it sucks. The second thing on my equestrian pet peeves list is when people dismiss the importance of groundwork. This is something that I am really strongly passionate about, and that is because groundwork is the foundation of everything you will ever do with your horse. And if you skip, parts of your groundwork or don't do groundwork and have problems later down the track, then you kind of have to expect that was going to happen because you didn't get your groundwork right from the beginning. And it really frustrates me when I see people say, oh, I don't have time for groundwork, I just want to work on, this thing with my horse that I'm doing right now. And you just kind of think, well, you probably wouldn't need to be fixing that problem if you'd got your groundwork right. And yeah, I get really frustrated when people dismiss how important groundwork is, not only to the beginning stages of training a horse, but right through their ridden careers as well, because it really does carry them through, whatever discipline you decide you want to do with your horse. So that's my number 2 pet peeve. My third pet peeve is the whole good horse person versus good horse rider debate. And I kind of thought about this one a lot and whether I wanted to include it, because I think that some people are probably going to agree with this and some people will probably disagree. But the point that I wanted to make with this pet peeve is that it's really frustrating when people assume that they're good horse people just because they're good horse riders. I think, and I have known many people who are fantastic horse riders. They could ride the worst of horses and stay on them and not have a problem, but I don't think that necessarily makes them good horse people. I've known people who are excellent horse riders but have absolutely no understanding of how horses communicate or no understanding of horse sense, and I just get frustrated when I see people say, oh, I'm a good horse rider, so therefore that makes me a good horse person. And I'm fully aware that, the more you ride, the better you are going to become at understanding and communicating and knowing horses. But I don't necessarily think that the two go hand in hand. I think that they're separate things, and while you can learn a little bit about both by doing one or the other, they really are things which need to be mastered separately. Being good at one does not automatically make you good at the other. My fourth equestrian pet peeve is about sacrifices. And I don't mean the sacrifices that you have to make personally to have a horse, or the sacrifices you have to make, in your personal life when you want to see a horse. I just mean that there are lots of aspects, I suppose, that go into owning a horse, and I feel like when you own a horse, there are other parts of your life which sometimes you have to loosen up on. And one thing that I find really difficult is time management, and making time to get out to see Spike. And it's kind of a catch-22, because you have work or you have school, and they are really important things that you need to do, that you can't sort of cut from your life. But at the same time, you want to see your horse. So I kind of feel like you're constantly always, as an equestrian, sacrificing some aspect of your life to be able to participate in this sport. And that's not a bad thing, but it can get frustrating, when you want to see your horse, but you have to be at work so you can have your horse, and it's like, well, it's kind of just a big cycle and you don't know what to do about it. So, and my final and fifth pet peeve is about barn witches or barn bullies. I know a lot of people don't like the term barn witch. I personally don't mind it, and that is because I don't think it necessarily needs to pertain to one specific gender. I think it can be anybody who is just a rude, opinionated, selfish, arrogant person who bullies others. And this is like really frustrating to me, and is probably at the top of my pet peeves list, but I wanted to save it to last. And I just think, like, if you make YouTube videos, or if you're active on social media, or if you show, or even if you just board at a big barn, then you have probably at some point in your life encountered a barn witch or barn bully. And I just think there's really no need for people to be rude or opinionated or pushy or point out other people's flaws. And this is something that I see all the time on social media, and it even happens in real life as well, as I'm sure some of you would know. And it really frustrates me, because I feel like we're all in this together. We all do this because we love it, and no one should ever be made to feel bad or put down by someone when they're doing the thing that they love. It's just not right. Like, I don't understand why people would even say negative things to others. We probably already are aware of our flaws and the things we can improve on, and I'm sure we all have people who are, really highly educated horse people who help us with those things, and we really don't need someone to point out our flaws. Like, just don't do it. It's just, we probably already know. I think rather than pointing out each other's flaws, equestrians should be lifting one another up. You know what? It's much nicer to say to someone, oh, you have really good eck, or your horse is really well built, than point out the negative things all the time. So that is my fifth equestrian pet peeves, and just say no to barn witches. So they are all my equestrian pet peeves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any pet peeves you would like to add to this list, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!